Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read, and today I'm going to be doing the Mother Goose Hunt book tag. So I was actually tagged to do this by my friend Sam. You can find his channel over at Sam Dawson. I will put his video down in the description below, as this is his original book tag. And so I'm very excited to support him by doing the tag. And yeah, it's a pretty fun tag. All the prompts are based on different nursery rhymes. So he came up with some really fun prompts to go with them. And it was kind of difficult to like figure out all the answers for this, but I'm excited to show you guys what I got. So the first prompt is Humpty Dumpty, and this is to find a book where the death of a main character is not a surprise. And I really, like, that seems kind of spoilerish, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So I chose Legendborn by Tracy Dion because in the description of this book, you find out that the main character's mother dies in a car accident before the book even starts. And so that death is like a big plot point in this book, and it has a big impact on the main character. So that's why I chose that. Also, I just read this book this past month and it is really good. I'm going to talk about it more in my wrap up, which should be my next video. So yeah, if you want to hear all my detailed thoughts on it, definitely check that video out. But for any of you that don't know, this book is kind of like an Arthurian retelling in modern day, and it has some really cool elements to it. There's definitely magic and some pretty badass battles. Yeah, it's a pretty fun book, and I'm excited to talk about it more. Then we have Jack and Jill, and this is to find a book where a secondary character is just along for the ride. So for this one, I chose Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, because as we all know, Sam is just along for the ride with Frodo. Sam pretty much carries Frodo throughout this whole thing, but he like initially starts off just along for the ride to bring the ring to Mordor. As we know in the series, as he goes on in book 2 and 3, he becomes way more badass and way more essential. So just for the first one, I would say he's along for the ride. And then later on, he's like a really great character. And I actually personally, I like Sam more than Frodo. So yeah. Next up is Hickory Dickory Dock. And this is to choose a book that has time travel in it. So for this one, I chose Recursion by Blake Crouch. This book has a time travel element to it. This book is really good. Like, I have this on my top sci-fi recs video because this one and Dark Matter, I love those books so much, and they play on so many aspects of sci-fi that I really enjoy. Those are also the only two Blake Crouch books I've read so far, and I do really want to read his Wayward Pines series because a lot of people have recommended that series to me. But yeah, if you do want like a time travel element in your book, pick this one up and you will not be disappointed. Then we have Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And so this is choose a book that has a nautical theme to it. So for this one, it's not like a fully nautical theme, but I chose Half a King because there are a lot of portions of this book where they spend time in a boat, and it's kind of like, it reminds me of like very much like Viking style. They're literally traveling on the water for a lot of the book. And also in the next book in the series, they also spend a lot of time on boats traveling across water to different destinations. So that's like the nautical themes that I was getting from it, and I really enjoy this series. I still have to finish the last book, but I do plan on picking that up probably this year because I want to finish off this trilogy, and I want to get back to that world. I really enjoyed it. Next up is There Was a Crooked Man, which I don't even really recognize this nursery rhyme. But anyways, this is to choose a book with a misunderstood character. And so for this one, I chose The Young Elites with Adelina as the misunderstood character. She is my favorite morally gray character, and I feel like she is this way because people misunderstand her and her intentions, and that kind of like develops her into the way she is. But she's like the first character that popped into my mind. As soon as I read Misunderstood, I was like, Adelina, that's my girl. And yeah, I really recommend this series because it's so much fun. I really enjoyed the whole trilogy. And I think that if you like fantasy or like any books where they have like powers or things like that, then you will like this book. Of course, we have Mary Had a Little Lamb. And so this is to choose a book that had an unrequited love in it. And so for this one, I chose Not So Pure and Simple, which is an arc that I got from HarperCollins. This one is about a boy who really is into this girl in his high school. And so, in order to get in her good books and try and date her, he joins this church group that she's in to like interact with her more outside of school and like actually get to know her and try and pick her up as a date. So the whole book is him trying to become her boyfriend, but he's not really like considering what she's feeling or if she's even interested in him at all. And so yeah, there's different elements that play into this book, but yeah, I thought that this fit perfectly because the main character just kind of has like this one track mind going for this girl without thinking about anything else, and that just fits. Next up is 10 Little Monkeys, and so this is to find a book or author that is controversial. So for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and say She Who Must Not Be Named, and I'm going to leave it at that because you guys, I'm pretty sure, know who that is. It sucks because she wrote such great stories that we were all like loving as kids. We still love to this day, but because of her actions as a person, it's left a bitter taste in our mouths. And so, yeah, that's why I'm choosing this particular person for this prompt. Then we have Polly Put the Kettle On. And so this is choose a book that has gender stereotypes in it. And so for this one, I'm choosing The Warded Man by Peter V. Brett, mainly because in this world, like the women are considered like the healers and the men are the warriors, and the women are considered like having to be protected, and that's like how the world is perceived. Now, I will say the characters in this book are not like that. Like the women characters in this book, as you discover who they are and where they go, are so badass. I really loved them. They were like phenomenal. And another one of the characters I will be talking about shortly, but yeah, it's just like it's the way the world perceives it and how they're meant to think that like this is how they are. I love how they actually are and how it like kind of breaks that down a little bit, but yeah, that's like how the world is perceived in this book, and that's why I chose it that way. And as Marcus tells me, because I've only read the first one in this series, as it goes on, the women in this series get so badass, and I am like looking forward to it. I'm always here for any books where there's like a strong female badass character. That's like, I know I'm going to enjoy the book right away as soon as I know that that's going to be in the book. So yeah. Then we have Twinkle Twinkle ABCs, and so this is two books that have near identical plot lines. So I actually found three books that have near identical plot lines. So the first one is Ready Player One. The second one is Otherworld. And the third one is The Eye of Mines by James Dashner. All three of those books all center around a virtual reality game that they can go into, and then there's some big bad guy that's also going into this virtual reality game trying to track them down and fight them, but like in the game and in real life. So they're like trying to survive while playing this virtual reality game. And all three of those plot lines are pretty much the exact same thing. They have slightly different outcomes, but yeah, like they're just so similar, and it's just blatantly obvious that they inspired each other, I guess. I don't know. They were just really, really similar, and that's kind of why I like lowered my rating for some of them. I read Ready Player One first, so my rating would be higher for that one because that was like my first experience with it. And then I read the other two that had the exact same kind of plot line, and I was like, okay, I've seen this before, so yeah. And then the last one is Old Mother Hubbard, and this is to find a book with an amusing grandmother figure. And so for this one, I chose The Warded Man again because there's a character named Bruna in this book, and if you've read this book, you know Bruna. She is phenomenal. She's so funny, and she's just like, she's the grandma that takes no shits. She will not take any sass from anybody. She will tell you how it is, and you better go with what she says, because if you don't, she'll whoop your ass. She was by far my favorite character in this book. I wish there was more of her in it, because every time she came into like a scene or anything like that, like I was super excited to see what Bruna was going to do next, or who she was going to settle a score with, or just like tell them that they're wrong. And yeah, she's like an awesome grandmotherly figure. I really enjoyed her character, and I would tell you to read the book just for her. And if anybody doesn't know, this is a fantasy book about a world where demons come up out of the ground every evening and like attack. And so people have to try and protect themselves and survive. And they can use wards to protect themselves. There's also like all different kinds of demons. There's like wood demons, there's like rock demons, wind demons. There's just, it's cool because you get to discover all these different types of demons while like discovering the characters, and you never really know like what's going to happen to the characters because like these demons come out of the ground every day. So it's like your characters could die at any time. You don't know. So it's really cool that you're like, I don't know, you just feel like your heart's pounding when you're reading this book because you're following along with these characters and just hoping that they survive to the next day. And so the premise is about humans. Like, they basically have to cower behind these wards that they have because they can't like fight the demons. They don't know how to kill them and stuff like that. But then as it goes along, they rediscover old wards that were used back in the day when they did fight against the demons. And so then they go forward with the discovery of these new wards and see how that's going to affect their lives moving forward. And that's it for the book tag. I thought it was really fun trying out this nursery rhyme book tag because I hadn't seen anything like this before. So thanks, Sam, for coming up with this tag. I'm going to tag some people to do this so that Sam's tag gets passed around a bit. So I'm going to tag Kathy Trithert because I haven't tagged her in anything in a really long time. I'll also tag Rye from Rye's Reading Corner. I feel like she would come up with a lot of fun answers for this one. And I'll also tag Tiana from One Page at a Time. Anyways, that's it for my video, guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you would have done for some of these prompts because I find them very interesting and hard to like match books with. So I want to see what you guys would have said. If you guys want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Coffee page, which I'll put in the description down below, as well as a link to buy my bookmarks. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. I post my videos on Mondays and Thursdays. And until next time, keep on reading.